Tonight, fire at a Broken Hill business being treated as suspicious, and Whyala's new Jetty proving to be a massive hit with locals.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with Louise Huber begins now.
Good evening. The Spencer Gulf has been listed as a possible location for a new $70 million hydrogen export hub. The hub, part of the federal government's $1.9 billion announcement today, investigating new energy technologies.
A major investment into clean energy. The hydrogen hub, a potential opportunity to export and produce green ammonia.
There's a lot of enthusiasm around about hydrogen. I know the Prime Minister, particularly Angus Taylor, the Energy Minister. I know the Premier, who I spent a bit of time with over the last couple of days, is very keen.
Eddie Hughes says Whyala would be the perfect location for the hub in South Australia.
And the reason for that is we've already got the industrial infrastructure in place, grid connection, rail connection, road connections, everything you need. And we've got an export facility already here.
The Minister for Energy says Australia's future hydrogen industry has the potential to generate almost 8,000 jobs over the next 30 years, many of which are in regional Australia.
Whyala makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons. And we need to diversify the economy here.
The site will be selected through a competitive process. Sophia Contigonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Authorities are treating a fire which broke out dangerously close to a Broken Hill news agency last night as suspicious. Firefighters managed to contain the blaze before it spread, but the damage bill is still expected to be in the thousands.
A small fire which could have been a lot worse. At around 10 o'clock last night, authorities were called to this Oxide Street news agency following reports of a fire at the back of the property.
A passerby who was on his way home has seen smoke coming from the back of the premises and called emergency services.
Upon arrival, firefighters could not tell if the building itself was in danger.
Couldn't tell how close it was to the building, so from where we put up in the main street, it looked like the whole rear of the building was alight.
Extra units called in as a precaution. The fire was quickly contained to a shed behind the business. The damage is expected to be a few $1,000s. The start of the blaze is not yet known, but it is being treated as suspicious.
We are asking for anyone that might have been in the area, seen anything or has dash cam or CCTV footage around the area of the shop on Oxide Street.
Patrick Ryankey, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Whyala's new Jetty is proving to be a huge hit with locals, with many enjoying its nightlight spectacle for the very first time. Adding to the city's excitement, the promise of more jobs on the horizon for one of Whyala's biggest industries.
An eye-capturing structure by day and a magical light show experience by night. Whyala's new Jetty surprising many with its grandeur.
It's a unique design. I think Whyala should be really proud. It's fantastic.
It's really pretty and it's good on a summer evening.
Families piling onto the $7.8 million structure for the very first time, with tourists already flooding in to visit.
The new jetty is awesome. It is wonderful to have it open again and have the swimming pool open again.
The jetty was really cool. People watched the dolphins. I loved walking on the jetty.
Design engineer Terry McGryan says the 2-year project was well worth the wait.
It's got some innovative design, not used in the country very much at all. The concrete panels are reinforced with glass fibre reinforcement, not normal steel, so they will last for 80 years at least.
Council remind locals to practice using social distancing while walking along this jetty, a structure which brings promise to Whyala's future and is making many locals proud.
That's pretty good, taking the first steps on the jetty, especially being part of the traditional owners bungalow. So it's good to come down and be part of the opening of the jetty.
It's amazing. It's such a beautiful piece of infrastructure that the community are really going to benefit from.
And it's not the only community benefit. Up to 160 new jobs are expected to hit the city, with an $8 million upgrade announced for Whyala's steel processing facility.
There will be more jobs, definitely, but it will be different type of jobs as well. Whyalla has long been has a proud history in manufacturing in South Australia, and to see $8 million of a state-of-the-art steel processing facility will certainly cement it in place on the national and international markets.
The Australian government investing a combined $2.75 million, with Ferretti International investing the rest.
It's a very positive thing. Ferretti International needs to compete with cost-effective processes.
Work on the project will begin in the coming months. Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us, still to come tonight. A new uni hub announced for Kadina, and Global Maintenance Upper Spencer Golf holds a business information session. Welcome back. The Copper Coast Council has secured just over $1 million of federal government funding to establish a university centre at Kadina. It will be the third uni hub campus to open, with more students opting to study regionally.
A step closer to reality, Copper Coast students will soon be able to study in their own hometown.
1,111,960, I think it is, from the federal government over a 3-year period to establish the Copper Coast University.
The centre is set to be based at Kadina's TAFE campus, easily accessible for students in surrounding areas.
People that are local are now able to access the kind of backup they need, the environment they need, the direct lines they need to universities and a range of university and a range of courses.
Kadina will be following suit, with Port Pirie and Port Augusta uni hub campuses only established in the last year.
And we're really looking forward to working with the Copper Coast Council into the future to get that up and running and to deliver some really good services into that community.
The move is set to provide much needed travel relief to some students who are already studying from the Copper Coast.
We've got a number of students from around the Copper Coast district that are studying some of our supported courses through Uni Hub already, so having a local facility is going to be really, really great for that community.
It's early days, with the exact opening date of the facility still in limbo, but it's anticipated it could be open as soon as next year.
We're on track to have university courses from the Kadina TAFE from the first semester in 2021.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Australia could see 2,000 more international arrivals into the country as the federal government pushes the states to increase their caps on arrivals. South Australia has agreed and will see an increase to 600 international arrivals per week, up from 500. The push to increase the limits is in a bid to get stranded Australians back on home soil. Companies around the Upper Spencer Gulf have been provided the opportunity to network as part of a global maintenance information session. The event put together ahead of next month's conference and trade expo.
A night of networking and guidance in Port Augusta.
Tonight's all about connecting local businesses to some of the procurement opportunities happening in the region for some of the region's biggest projects. So really about sharing some information and building their networks and connections.
The session, hosted by Global Maintenance Upper Spencer Gulf, one of the first events since restrictions have eased, helping businesses to pick up where they left off.
Some of those networks have sort of, collapsed a little bit in the region, so we're really here today to make sure that everyone gets a really great understanding of the complementary businesses that are in similar fields to them in the region, so that they can all sort of, compete separately and then also together as well.
Businesses taking on board the information and advice from members.
The importance of making sure that you are delivering a polished product, you are letting your customers know exactly what you deliver and why you are the best at what you do.
The information sessions travelling to Whyalla and Port Pirie too, in the lead up to the conference and trade expo to be held in Port Augusta in October.
We've got 60 exhibitors and we're looking at having around 400 delegates on site for that day. So really well supported by a lot of our sponsors.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. Butlers Bridge just outside Port Pirie receives a facelift and players embrace the grand final of inclusive basketball in Port Augusta. Hello again. Port Pirie's Butlers Bridge overpass has received some major maintenance following its closure last year. Farmers and truck drivers will soon be able to use the route just in time for harvest.
A remote Port Pirie road that attracts heavy vehicle traffic with many farms surrounding the area.
Basically the concrete was breaking away and we needed to make sure that we could maintain access through here but still have some sort of protection on the floodway.
This time last year, Butlers Bridge and the overflow were closed due to safety concerns. 10-tonne weight limits across the bridge will still remain in place with large headers frequenting the area.
It's a 10-tonne load limit, so only vehicles that are less than 10 tonnes can travel on that.
Council is now applying for grants so they can reduce this limit.
We are getting designs prepared for Butlers Bridge at the moment, and we have applied for federal government funding under the Bridge Renewal Program, which we're waiting to hear back on.
The overflow is set to open during the busiest time of year.
It's very important to the farmers. We've got a detour in place at the moment, but when the road will be open, it'll be in time for harvest.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
A unique Broken Hill building in the shape of a radio is celebrating a very special milestone this weekend. Home to some of the city's local broadcasts, the structure will be turning 30 on Sunday.
Turning the dial as the building turns the big 3-0.
It's just such a unique building. When I first rocked up here over 2 years ago, took one look at it and I thought, oh my God, I'm working there. It's fantastic.
It may look like a tourist attraction like the Big Banana or Big Pineapple, but this Broken Hill radio structure is actually a working station.
In America, someone was trying to convert an A-frame building into a radio station and it didn't work. So they got the idea, and it's based on a Philips cathedral radio circa 1940s.
For 3 decades, it's been the home of local Silver City broadcasts.
So we gave away 2 this morning. Another one to come this afternoon. Make sure you listen out. Here's some Aussie stuff now. It's Oingo Boingo.
In the lead up to the 30-year anniversary, some research was done about the building. While the guys behind the mic are not celebrating just yet, they think they may be working inside a record holder.
Put it in for the Guinness Book of World Records as the world's biggest radio. And it even has a little museum upstairs, and when we have time, we don't mind the odd person coming in.
To celebrate the milestone, Hill FM will be counting down the top 40 songs of 1990 on Monday. Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Members of Port Augusta's inclusive basketball have played their final game for the season and it finished with a bang. The grand final full of goals, cheers and smiles, with some players awarded medals.
It certainly was goals, goals, goals all game round.
Good. And I got plenty of goals, didn't I?
I got 3 goals in. I tried to get 6 because last week I got 5 goals in.
In its 4th year, inclusive basketball is continuing to grow, with this grand final showcasing that.
We started off with 1 senior game and 2 juniors. Now we've got 2 seniors, but this year was a bit mixed. We put them, for want of a better word, the little ones in with the big ones. But next year we'll talk about putting them back the way we were.
This year saw new and returning players.
We've been playing for a year.
3 years.
The first half of the season was stopped due to coronavirus, but luckily enough they were able to play for 9 weeks. The players stoked to be on the courts, recounting their favourite parts of the season.
I like to get to meet people and that, and everybody's a winner. It don't matter if you lose or you just have a lot of fun.
Heaps of goals and getting heaps of medals.
Shooting goals, like shooting goals.
Players have had a special guest attend a number of their games for the season, Dan Van Holst-Pelikan, who has been cheering them on since the beginning.
I've been sort of participating from the sidelines of inclusive basketball every season so far, and every season the players get better and better, and every season there are more players as well.
Travelling up to Port Augusta to watch the game especially and be a part of the presentations.
I love coming and cheering from the sidelines on regular Tuesday night games, but to get to give a medal to every single one of the players is a special thing. It's a highlight for me.
The happy players already looking forward to next season.
Can't wait to come out again next year.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Coming up after the break, we'll have this week's fish and tips and the weather with Britt. Welcome back. Time now to hear from the experts with this week's fish and tips.
Welcome another week around the Gulf Fishing Tips. I think just behind me is a bit of a sign of the times over this last week, what's been going to be happening. What we're looking at the moment is the blue swimmer crab season is starting to come on, and when they first start marching, it's usually around the Checker Buoy area. If you're going to look for King George whiting this time of the year, they're usually out a bit deeper, so Eastern Shoal, Checker Buoy, and also if you went around to Woods Point at Port Davis. But also don't forget that what this ban is putting upon us is only at Second Creek net band sticks. So your Third Creek patches and all that sort of stuff are still available to fish at, so you can still take a feed from there. And we'll catch you next week. Thank you.
G'day and welcome to this week's fishing tips from Port Augusta, Jewel of the North. Well, the King George whiting, it's really come on the bite. They're really big and people are bagging out. Over in the Flinders Channel and a little bit actually at the top end of Flinders Channel. It's unusual. Normally this time you're at sort of the bottom end, they're moving out. Squid can still be found, but you really have to work for those. Garfish, you get a nice calm night, calm moonless night. Try diving for garfish, getting good feeds of those, and Tommy's up and around the trees as well. Salmon as always this time of year up around the creeks, Chinaman's Creek and into Port Patterson as well, and also over in the Oyster Run. And that's all we have from the Jewel of the North.
G'day and welcome to Fishing Tips in Port Lincoln. We'll start over the Coffin Bay side. The farm beach grounds have been producing some whiting lately. Those grounds have been fishing quite well, and also up towards Gallipoli for a better class of fish up there. There's also been some nice tommies and a few snook through the farm beach and Gallipoli grounds as well. Back in the bay at Coffins, there's been quite a few salmon trout around the usual places. And over in Lincoln, the town jetty has been producing a few smaller squid, with Murray's Point producing some better sized squid out there. Well, that's all for this week. We'll see you again with more tips next week.
And for a look at the weather, here's Britt.
Thanks, Louise, and good evening. Port Augusta saw warmer than average temperatures again today with a high of 30 degrees. Broken Hill was also above average, recording a high of 32. Elsewhere, maximum temperatures were closer to average. Port Pirie reached a top of 26 degrees today, Whyalla 24. It reached 20 degrees at Woodner, 19 in Adelaide, 17 at Clare. Kadina and Cleve both shared a high of 15, with Port Lincoln reaching just 14 degrees today. Looking to the skies, and today's satellite images show thick cloud over much of South Australia, with a broad trough and embedded low and cold front generating widespread rain and showers, heaviest in the southeast, and some thunderstorms forming in the northwest. Moving on now to tomorrow, on the waters, southeasterly winds at 15 to 20 knots, reaching up to 30 knots at times in the far south. Seas at 1.5 to 2.5 metres, with south to southwesterly swells below 1 metre. So let's see what Friday looks like near you. A shower or two for our Port Lincoln viewers, with wind easing early in the day, looking at a top of 21 degrees tomorrow. Cleve a bit warmer, 27 the top with a shower or two. Woodner showers and 29 tomorrow. A shower or two for Whyalla, also 29. Port Augusta showers increasing with a high of 32 degrees. Kadina a shower or two and a top of 29. Showers and strong winds at Port Pirie tomorrow with a top of 31. Similar conditions at Clare reaching 26 degrees. Remaining dry at Broken Hill, partly cloudy with a top of 31. And Saturday is looking to be another wet day. Rain for Port Augusta with a top of 24. Broken Hill, possible storms with a high of 23. Showers expected elsewhere. Whyalla also 23. Port Pirie 22. Woodner and Kadina both 21. Port Lincoln with a top of 19. Sunday, those showers will be replaced by strong winds, partly cloudy across the Spencer Gulf region. Port Augusta 29, Woodner, Whyalla and Port Pirie all 28. Broken Hill, sunny and 26. Kadina 25, Port Lincoln 23. And finally now, a quick look at Monday. Showers about the west coast, lower Eyre Peninsula, mid-north, York Peninsula and Adelaide. Fine elsewhere. Port Augusta 23, Whyalla and Broken Hill both 22, Port Pirie 21, Kadina 20, Woodner 19, Port Lincoln with a top of 17 degrees. And Louise, that's it from me. Back to you.
Lovely, thank you for that, Britt. And that's your local news for this Thursday evening. Thank you, as always, for joining us. We'll have updates later. Until then, have a lovely and safe evening. Good night.